Hello Aries, welcome to Monarch Intuition, and today I'm going to be doing your February 2023 monthly check-in reading for you. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is I like to pull one major arcana to see the energy and then clarify with a different deck. So what major arcana needs to come out for the sign of Aries? What do we need to know for you? We have the High Priestess, hindsight being 2020, okay? So when we look at the High Priestess card, this is allowing us to look at the scrolls of our lives after, we've passed away. And we can see everything that's transpired within our lives. And we can sit there and we can look at everything and say, wow, I wish I was never in that relationship. Or wow, I wish I had never made that decision because it led me down this path and it took me so long to get back on the right path right here. The High Priestess sits at the center of the crossroads, right, of yin and yang. When we see the High Priestess energy, this is, allowing us to see how every choice impacted us within our lives. So I feel like right here you're going to have hindsight 2020 as to why something may or may not have worked out for you. You're going to understand how everything works together for your highest good if you just, stop fighting it. For example, people will cast love spells. And I really don't like when people cast love spells, when people talk about, doing love work, love magic, whatever, or trying to do love work, love magic. Because what you do is you take away the person's free will. You put a spell over yourself or over them, right? And usually those situations don't work out well because eventually the spell is broken. And when I talk about a love spell, I'm really talking about like the more alchemic type of love spells. Back in the day, they used to, boil rose water, and it was basically a roofie. They would boil like rose water with oysters and a few other things and try to make it taste good, put it in people's drinks. And because it causes hypersensation of love. But, that's taking away someone's free will. That is hurting someone. And so when I see the High Priestess right here, you don't want to put yourself or anyone else in those situations. Yes, you might want this person now, but do you want them 10 years from now? You put idealized ideas onto something, and then it can consume you. You have the Eight of Wands coming in really quickly. You have the King of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands in reverse. Yeah. So I don't usually do love readings, and I'm not going to make this a love reading. I'm using it as an analogy because you're rushing into something and it's a form of pure lust, but the Ace of Wands is in reverse. This does represent like a male genital symbol pointed downwards. And so it represents a false start or a false opportunity. So I kind of feel like hindsight is 2020. You don't want to put yourself or, ruin someone else's life because you want lust after something. And this could be a person, a place, or a thing. The Ace of Wands represents a brand new opportunity, something that's shiny, something that's beautiful, something that's like, oh, I must have it, at all costs. So, and with the Eight of Wands, that's you rushing at it. You really want this, whatever it is, because it seems stable, it seems beautiful with the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is a handsome person, right? Has everything, he has all the great things. But you're rushing at an Ace of Wands that is not there for you or not in your highest interest. You have the Five of Pentacles, yeah, with the Ace of Swords. So you're rushing towards poverty, and you're going to find that out with the High Priestess with the Ace of Swords right here. That's the intuition coming in for you. You're going to understand that something was not that good. Something was not amazing like you thought it was. What's the King of Pentacles? The Emperor with the Three of Pentacles. So when I see the Emperor and the Three of Pentacles right here, this does represent a masterpiece or a master work. So I kind of feel like you thought something was like the bee's knees. You thought something was this absolute gorgeous masterpiece. It could be a person. But let's look at the Ace of Wands. You have the Fool, a blank slate. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have something better for you along the horizon. You couldn't have this, but the Fool represents a blank slate turning the Wheel of Fortune again. This is kind of like seeing it and accepting the fact that you can't have something, okay? And when you understand that, you kind of like, go past a mental block, because some people will allow these things to consume them. They will like, I will put a love spell on that person. I will do whatever I have to do to get this right here. But I kind of feel like that's your goal, is you see something that is so whatever, but you have to let it go. Eight of Wands with the Ace of Cups, because what's coming in is the actual Ace of Cups for you. Something that is meant for you, something that will be offered to you. So, allowing yourself to be consumed by something right here is definitely not in your best interest. The Three of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Empress. Hold on to the Empress. Celebrate holding on to the Empress right here. Because here's the thing, you want this Emperor, but when we look at the Three of Pentacles, this is what's clever about this right here. The Emperor is being crowned with the Devil because this is Capricorn energy. So you want something that is very kind of like devilish. Maybe it's not completely devilish, but it consumes you to a point where you're just like, you're staring at it in like awe, okay? But accepting love from the Empress, allowing this new opportunity to come into your life is much better, because remember, the Emperor wages war. He's a very fiery card. He doesn't care about your emotions. He doesn't care about X, Y, and Z. He cares about ruling his country with an iron fist, and he cares about money, and he cares about things running properly. The Empress is beautiful. She's pregnant. She's abundant. She has, a lot more stuff going on in the background. She has the wellspring of water coming out. She is blessed by the Egyptian Ankh, right? So with that symbol right there, the symbol of Venus. So you're waiting for the Empress. You're wanting to throw yourself at this Emperor energy. One more card for this. The Knight of Pentacles. Something that's stable. Something that could be, taking a little bit longer to come in, though. But it is actually a masterpiece. It's a master, situation. You should just celebrate holding on to what you do have, and allowing something better to come into your life, and not allowing something to consume you. The Hanged Man, seeing something from a different perspective. The Seven of Swords with the Star. In a way, I feel like these stars were very clever. When I say stars being clever, I'm referring to someone knew how to make something look beautiful, okay? And maybe it wasn't all completely honest. For example, makeup, and then putting a filter on top of the makeup. You can really certain people can really make themselves beautiful and then put a filter on it and make them look absolutely flawless, like gorgeous, right? But when the makeup comes off and the filter comes off, they're just a normal person. And that's what I'm seeing right here, is it's kind of like smoke and mirrors. The Sun with the Victory, with the Three of Swords. So I feel like something was very happy, you wanted it, but it was going to be the Three of Swords, or it ended in the Three of Swords, but it was a fantasy with the Seven of Cups. Yeah, it's just all smoke and mirrors once again. Like, it's smoke coming out, there are a bunch of paths. But here's the thing, what you're waiting for is the angel to appear to you in the cup and hand you this right here. Because you're going off on all these different tangents, right? You're looking at all these cups like all these different stars, but here's the thing, there's an angel inside of one of these cups. And when we look at the Temperance, what's the Temperance doing? Alchemizing with the cups to hand the cup off to someone. So I think right now you need to have peace. The message is coming towards you. You just can't see it yet with the Two of Swords. So the Four of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Two of Swords coming out, yeah, you just don't see the peace right now. The Lovers come rushing in with the Knight of Wands, something that is divinely meant to occur, be connected. It's the King of Wands. That is your connection with the Six of Cups right here. So here's the thing. I feel like you are trying to connect to an earthy-like energy because it seems beautiful and glamorous. So here's the thing. You're an Aries, right? Your divine connection, or your in tarot, you're ruled by the Queen of Wands, right? Leo is ruled by the King of Wands. the King and the Queen of Wands go hand in hand together, right? You're looking at a Taurus, which is the King of Pentacles energy, as being your divine counterpart. That is not the case for you, Aries. So you're trying to wish on all these fantasies on these stars because you see this as a divine connection, but it's really just the King of Pentacles masquerading as the Emperor, masquerading as a fire sign, or masquerading as a fire type energy. And granted, they might be, but they have this kind of like this creation that's in a way an allure. It's a creation that they fabricated for themselves. It's a mask. So someone wears a very brilliant mask, like that idea of putting the makeup on with the filter, right? You're trying to connect to this loving energy, this angel cup energy, because it's actual fire energy for you. You need to accept the love from the Empress, because remember, the Emperor is your energy. It's wrathful, it's war energy, right? And it's also scorpionic. But at the same time, Aries, your goal is to find your divine counterpart, which is the Empress, right? So you're not the Empress, but it's the King of Wands. So you're finding the actual Empress right here, or you're finding yourself to be the actual Empress with the King of Wands, or you're finding something that is meant to occur within your life, something that is like, oh, that is my perfect match. That is my divine counterpart with the Lover's energy. When I say divine counterpart, it does not have to be within love. I do not do love readings. I don't like, people getting stuck within the love loop. So don't think of this as a person. Think of it more as like a situation occurring within your life. The King of Pentacles coming out with the Queen of Cups. So it was going to be kind of like you water the King of Pentacles, but what does the King of Pentacles do for you? So it's like you're wanting to emotionally pour out your cups to this King of Pentacles to grow the Nine of Pentacles, but what in the end happens for you? Because it's only one person sitting in the garden right here. The Three of Wands, you're seeing that now. You're seeing that you grew something for one person. So it's kind of like getting into a situation that's kind of toxic where you feel like this person is everything that you could want. But what's behind this person is that this person uses other people to water them, to nurture them. And that's kind of what's important to understand about, really like stunningly beautiful, gorgeous people like you would see at the gym or online or whatever. They constantly have people watering them, right? Giving them things, doing things for them. But they're the only ones who stand in their own garden at the end of the day. Because once they've used you up, once they've sucked you dry to grow what they have, they're standing in their garden while you're looking past, while you're looking at them, right? So the Eight of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles with the Eight of Cups. So I kind of feel like the hard work is that you have to like put in the hard work for yourself. If you're going to water something, water your own self. If you're going to do anything, just take care of you, all right? Plant your own seeds, plant your own garden, plant everything for you right here. Walk away from something that doesn't feel complete, because in a way, I don't really feel like this is complete for you. No, the devil energy, it's not. It's sucking you dry, okay? The Five of Wands, it wants to cause conflict. It wants to make you shrivel up into nothing. There's a balance here, though. You have to find balance with your counterpart. The Queen of Swords, that's the message that needs to come out to you. With the Eight of Swords, to get you out of your head. Something is going to be said to you that is going to unbind you, that's going to unravel things for you, to understand why you're going around in a circle and you can't see the truth. The Moon, because you're trapped in the moonlight energy. Something is treacherous. Something is just like, you can't see the forest through the trees. But it's going to be one of those situations where it's kind of like, haha, I got you in the end, while you're sad and walking away. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with this energy, is that it's almost like, you know, if you water this, they're going to be happy. And they're going to be like, well, you know what? I don't need you anymore. So I'm going to stand here and hold all of these 5 swords by myself while you're sad and walking away from a situation. You can't see that because you're surrounded by this moonlight energy. The Temperance alchemizing the situation for you, so you can walk away from whatever this is to find the actual, balance for yourself, to find the angel in the cup, to find the missing 2 cups, to find the turning the water and oil into fire, to finding the perfect blend to something, to finding the 2 cups that are behind you. You're looking at sadness with the 3 of cups that have poured out on whatever the situation is, but what is behind you is the angel alchemizing behind your back. You have the Death card with a brand new situation. I feel like you just need to allow the cycle or situation, whatever it is, to end and accept something brand new, okay? Look at it for what it is. It's an ending. Look at it as, I can't have it. I'm not going to waste my time fighting for it, because if it wanted me, it would try to come after me as well. It would try to pursue me. It would at least meet me halfway in the center to whatever this is. But, and I've noticed this a lot of times, there are women who throw themselves at men, okay? They do things that they would have never done within their lives to appease someone. And at the end of the day, that person is just, fucking Jerry or Brad, right? Like, they're no one really special, but they feel like if they don't have this person, then they're seen as a failure. Or, biological clocks are ticking, right? This right here is one of those things where you see something, it's completely masquerading around as something that it's not, all right? But you have to look at the sadness and say, that's not it. That is not the divine counterpart. That is not the King of Wands energy that I'm looking for, or whatever this is within your life. I'm using that as an analogy because so many people destroy themselves for someone who at the end of the day, is doing okay. Like, I've known people to do that. They'll go into debt to try to make someone happy, to make that person give them a ring, to make that person marry them. Whatever the situation is, do things sexually that are kind of like depraved. Buy, waste money, cater hand and foot to something or someone just to get, screwed over in the end. And that's what this is right here. That's the 9 of Swords coming out with the 10 of Wands. So drop the burden of anxiety. You see something that makes you lust after it, that makes you say, I'm going to lose everything, but I'm going to get that situation, drop it. Just drop it. If you would say, oh, I'd do anything for that, I would, whatever, drop it. That's the balance right there with the Justice energy. Because that's how we all know when something is not right for us. When we feel an intense urge or lust to have something, no matter what, to pursue it relentlessly, then we know that that is not meeting us halfway. If you would bow down to have something, it's not it. It's kind of like the story of Jacob and Esau, right? Esau was so hungry and he sold his birthright to Jacob. And when we see that right there, when we see what happened, that person got tricked. That person lost everything for a bowl of stew. And there was nothing that could be done about that. But Jacob had everything in the end, standing alone in their garden with the 5 of Swords energy. That's what you need to understand about this, Aries. We have confidence, move forward with confidence, family, and freedom. You know what? At the same time, when I say family and freedom energy, you know, why are people in Europe so much happier than, say, Americans? Well, when we look at them, they have better quality food, they have better quality, a lot of different things, right? But why is that? It's that they put education really high, and it's generally able and or easier for them to obtain education. They can just travel around to different countries and experience different cultures like crazy, right? It's not like traveling from, this state to this state and it's basically the same people. Different cultures, different foods, different variety of things. They end up actually tend to get married a little bit later and have smaller families because they get to experience life. They get to, it's kind of weird. They call them French romances, basically summer flings, where people will fall in love for the summer, but they know that, that's love. They're just going to kind of break away. I'm not saying that that's what you should have, Aries, but I think that you need to value yourself a little bit more right here and see that, sometimes there is a freedom by not having a family, okay? Sometimes there is a sense of enjoyment by living and doing things for yourself and living your own life, all right? Not being bound to something, by just being confident. But confident in knowing that a family will come once you have attained a certain level, once you can provide a much better, situation. And that's what's important about them versus America, is that people want to get married when they're like 21, 22. They want to get married at 29, 30, and they have their education, they're established, they're ready to start a family. They're not chained to a situation that kind of like, societal standards here in America. So that's what this is for you. Don't get chained to, and don't throw yourself at this, and don't sell your birthright for feathers. Tenacity, move forward and be observant about situations. When you see that, just be tenacious and move forward. Just be like, it's a stag beetle energy. Stag beetle kind of water off a duck's back. Where's their exoskeleton? Or their armor is their exoskeleton. So I feel like you have to just kind of like be aware of that. Observe these situations. It's like, oh, well, that's, it is what it is. You have Kenaz, torch, knowledge, new outlook, creation, understanding, ideas, inspiration, and vision. The spiritual meaning is inner guidance and enlightenment. One, Joe, joy and happiness, harmony and partnerships, positive family relations, and good teamwork. I feel like you need to focus on your family right here. Focus on your family is very important. We get so wrapped up in our own selves, we don't even see who's suffering and who's not, right? We don't even know what's going on with, grandma or grandpa, whatever the situation is. Because we're so focused and wrapped up on trying to find whatever. So integration and ceremony. So I feel like you need to integrate, ceremonies within your life. And when I talk about ceremonies, I'm not talking about like cord cutting rituals and things like that. I'm talking about positive reinforcements. So what is a positive reinforcement? Well, waking up early and saying, I'm going to go on a walk. Going on that walk, making your coffee, meal prepping, having a 1 day out of the week, 2 days out of the week where you do a beauty regimen. You actually put the roller on your face with your favorite, moisturizer. You take an Epsom salt bath, or, you take care of yourself. You're integrating really good positive reinforcements in your life. And you're not growing someone else's garden by allowing yourself to suffer while someone stands alone. And that's what's important right here, is that what's the point of, hurting yourself when the other person is just going to have everything that you have? Instead of focusing on that lustful addiction, that lustful energy, I must have it. No, focus on, if it makes you feel that way, then that's what you know. That's balance of the scales. That's Libra energy. I believe Libra is your opposite sign. It's teaching you to be balanced. It's teaching you not to be impulsive. So focusing on yourself right here. And I know I talk about that a lot. Just focus on yourself. Just do you. But no, that's really the case. There is a lot of white space within our life periods. Like, a lot of people see, stuff that happens on social media. They think like so much stuff is happening between X, Y, and Z, right? In reality, life is just a lot of white noise, a lot of blank space. I mean, yeah, it can be exciting, but people don't go skydiving every single day unless they're instructors. People don't go scuba diving every single day unless they're instructors. Like, there are, life is just meant to be enjoyed and lived, and it has its ups and downs. People try to rush through their lives to attain secrets and whatever, but ultimately it gets them hurt. So focus on your hobbies. When you feel bored, learn how to sew, learn how to, or go take Pilates. A lot of people make fun of those people who wake up super early in the morning, and they like wake up at like 4:30 and they're like, I'm going to go to Pilates class. I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to get Starbucks. I'm going to take the shower or get, dressed up and go to work and have a good day. I'm going to be in bed by, 7:30. People are like, oh, wow, that person has a lot of regimen. They must be a soccer mom or something. But you know what? They're happy, because they're filling up all that white noise within their lives with other things. And ultimately, a lot of people, when they look at them in disgust, they're really just jealous. All right, it is what it is. Spider community and web weaving and zombie release control. So focus on, just doing things within your community. If you're like, you know what, there's a new restaurant, I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to have the confidence to go and sit there by myself. I'm going to go to the spa. I'm going to get my nails done, get my hair done. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to take my, gym class. I'm going to go on a run. Filling yourself up with all of these little ceremonies right here takes your mind off of whatever this was in the past or whatever this is. Zombie, release control. Release control of, the past situations. Just move forward within your life. There's no point in, doing everything that you can, kind of like, those love spells and love rituals that people try to do, taking away other people's free will. Those are so detrimental to, the grand scheme of things and karma in the end. So anyway, Aries, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I'll talk to you later.